So writing headline copy for your website can be tough. I totally get it. Just bring it in, hug it out. We're going to talk about this today. Hey there, welcome back to another episode here on the Ashlyn Writes channel. I'm Ashlyn. This is episode 44. I'm a calligrapher and copywriter and help creative entrepreneurs just like you. And today I'm bringing in another copywriting tutorial to help you out. So last week I posted a video of 5 mistakes that you're making in your website copy. And on that video I asked for any ideas that you may have of things that you needed some help with. This request came in. It seemed like a pretty good one, so here we go. Figuring out how to write your headline copy or even your sub-headline copy. When I say sub-headline, I mean that deck of copy that goes below the big piece of copy. That's tough, and I totally get it. I do this for a living, and I have a hard time with it. Just to be honest, it's usually the last thing I write for clients when I'm writing a sales page or a piece of website copy. I also have completely gotten up to take a walk, to get a glass of wine, to stretch my legs when I get stuck on writing that headline copy. I love this quote from famed advertiser David Ogilvy. It's probably one of the most overused marketing quotes on the internet, but it's a good one. On average, 5 times as many people read the headline copy of your website as read the body copy. It's anything else on your website. When you've written your headline, you've spent 80 cents out of the dollar. So headlines are so important because they may be the only thing that your reader reads. These are different from your blog post headlines, and if you're interested in learning more about blog post copywriting and content writing, I'm going to link you below. Look in that description box and you can find the video I did on blog posts. But today we're specifically talking about that copy that goes up in the hero section of any page of your website. So grab a pen, grab some coffee, let's get this party started. And as we do, if you're not following along on Instagram, come on over and join that crew. That is where I'm going to be first to let you know when I have freebies and new blog posts and all sorts of content come out, but I also enjoy just chatting it up over there. Also, make sure you hit subscribe and the little bell on this channel and you will be first to know when this video comes out every single week. When it comes to writing headlines, I have a procedure that's probably no big surprise to those of you who know me or how I work, but essentially I just don't like that blinking cursor. I like starting with a little something so I have somewhere to go, and if you're like that too, I get it. Today's freebie hopefully will help you out. Look down below in the description box and you can grab a free 13 swipe file link for some headlines that can hopefully get you started as you write your own website words. Let's get into the 6 tests. Test number 1, does it catch their eye? I know this has worked for you before because you have seen headlines that have totally caught you. Now, the reason that has happened is because the business, the creative entrepreneur, or the copywriter behind that was really careful, really did the legwork to figure out how to marry that brand's vision and voice and essence with the important part, the thing that you wanted to hear, the thing that you needed to see that was going to really hook you and draw you in. This is why copycatting doesn't work. This is why you can't go Mad Lib somebody else's website who's in a similar industry as you and get it to work on your brand. You've got to do it differently. I have seen headlines from my website Mad-libbed just a little bit somewhere else. I have seen my clients' work that I've done for them Mad-libbed and appear somewhere else. And I get it, copywriting can be tough, but just hear me out. That's never gonna work in the long run because we have to do the legwork to figure out what it is that's gonna make you different and stand out and hook your audience. We've got to go after your fish, right? I start with this because with good copywriting, it's so important that we remember good marketing pulls. It draws in, right? It doesn't push somebody towards the sale, but it pulls them in. Again, that pack of 13 swipes that you can download for free below will help you, but let's go through a couple of other examples. You could say something eye-catching like, who else wants blank? You could also use your unique selling proposition, what my students know I call your onlyness factor, and say you're the only blank that does blank. Or maybe you want to tell them how to do something desirable in an unexpected way. That would certainly catch eyes, right? Another thing you can do to write eye-catching copy is weave in tantalizing words. Think new, discover, introducing, announcing. It's here at last, how to, finally, this just in, last chance, proven, quick. These are all words that work. They've worked for a really long time, and you can pepper them into your headline copy to catch eyes. Tip number 2, is it clear? Clarity trumps cleverness and cutesiness. In your headline, In all parts of your website copy, but especially your headline, I want you to nix the jargon, the wordplay, even taglines sometimes that we become so married to because they can just not be clear. If you've been here since the beginning, you may have seen my first website, which was pretty terrible. I wish I could hide something super embarrassing, but there's that Wayback tool so you could find it pretty easily. So I'll just share it with you. At the beginning of my website, I said stringing words, slinging ink. Now, okay, I get an A for poetic device usage, but I get an F for clarity. It's so hard to tell what I do with that. It's just a quippy little tagline that I added in. I was trying to explain that I do calligraphy and copywriting, but hopefully you can kind of see what I mean here. It's just not clear. It doesn't help anything. To be clear, but I also want you to make sure that all the copy on your website, and specifically the headlines, are at about a 6th grade reading level. Seriously. You'd be surprised if you scroll around the internet and click through to different websites, look at the ones you like, the ones that are easy to read and easy to understand. They're usually at about a 6th grade reading level. To wrap this one up, I love this quote from Entrepreneur Magazine. Instead of clarifying speech or helping people communicate in a more efficient way, jargon usually just does the opposite. Test number 3, does it get to the point? Okay, the key here to remember, your point is not always the reader's point. Let's think about an example of this. Say I had an essential oils business. Well, my point on my homepage is that I know that if I got this starter kit in the hands of somebody, it would change lives. They would absolutely love it. But my reader's point, let's just say for an example, is to have a safer pregnancy. Do you see how those two goals are very different? Before I sit down to write anything, whether it's an email, a page of copy for a client, even a blog post, I always write down these 2 things. Number 1, what is my goal? And number 2, what is my reader's goal? And then my job then is to answer both of those in the messaging. Remember 2 little secrets here as we wrap this one up. The first is that people tend to be selfish when we're reading online and when we're shopping, and that's okay. So we need to, again, speak to that benefit. And also, people are busy. So let's make it clear, just like we said earlier, and get to the point. Test number 4, does it do something we call message matching? I don't know if this has ever happened to you before, but I have been scrolling through my phone, probably watching Bravo Celebrities on TV, and seen a Facebook app that seems pretty interesting that I want to click on, and I do. I wait for it to load, look up, and then look down and see it has nothing to do with what I thought I was getting. Has that ever happened to you before? What's going on there is a disconnect in the message matching. Message matching is the idea that wherever I'm coming from, be it Google SEO search, your social media accounts, or even just another page of your website to another page of your website, message matching means that that headline is going to affirm that I'm in the right place. There's going to be copy and imagery that's going to tell me, yep, you're in the right place, you're going down the correct path. For example, how confusing would it be if I knew your name was associated with your brand, but when I went to your website, I didn't see anything having to do with your name. It just wasn't on there anywhere above the fold of the page of the website. Likewise, what if you're specifically location-based? What if you are a wedding and event designer in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I need to know that, but I land on your website and I don't see anything, again, above the fold. So when I say that, that's a journalistic term meaning above the fold of the website, like a newspaper. So before I start scrolling, but what if I landed and I saw nothing having to do with Charlotte? Now, looking at stats and testing this out may not sound interesting to you, but I absolutely love doing it. And I want to show you a tool that has been really helpful for me. It's a tool called Lead Pages, and while it works for many things in creative small businesses, one thing I like to do with it is just test out different subject lines and see what messaging matches. See what people like to click on more. Let's go take a look at that. We are behind the scenes in Lead Pages. If you're not familiar with Lead Pages, it is a software, a service that you can use to tee up with your website, with your email marketing platforms. There's lots of different integrations you can have. I like it as much as I like making one-off splash pages or landing pages on Show It, which is what we use. I was on Squarespace before, would make them on that. I like the control that I have in Lead Pages a little bit more to kind of see what's working and what's not working. I get to see all these analytics and numbers, and I really like that. So I can play around with that, and that's kind of what I'm going to show you today. Here's a quick example of a lead page created. Now, kind of their job is to go in and make templates already of colors and imagery placement and copy placement that they have found performs well in their tests, and they go ahead and pump those out through their templates. You can use one of their ready-built templates. You can create their own. This is one that we created that's converted really well. So yeah, I just wanted to show you kind of an example of what some of these could look like for you. There's honestly like endless options. So what happens when we want to create a new split test, I'm just going to come up here and close that real quick. So basically the first step is to choose our control, which is the page we're trying to beat. So I'm going to see if I can find one of these. I have one that I wanted to go with. This one's obviously doing really well, but let's just see, what if we could try something else and just see if a different headline works any better. So I'm going to click use this page. And then, so this is the control that's marked by that C up at the top. And what I'm going to do now is create a variation of it. So once I create the variation, this will be a version that I'm going to test it against. You can create multiple ones if you don't, maybe you have 3 different headlines that you want to test out. I'm going to edit this real quick to have in some little different copy up at the top. So like I said, the copy was working really well, but say I wanted to try something else. Say I'm testing this for maybe a bigger service that I want to provide, and I want to see, well, what works better? Do they want to see specifically the name of the potential future product I want to offer, or do they want to all caps, your business organized? Just maybe that's a little bit more benefity. So maybe this is the one that we're going to go with. So we'll go ahead and hit publish. So this can be working its magic. And they always come up here and give you a link, so it's great. And we can go in. I'm not going to show really how to build one of these pages in this video. I can in another video if needed. But these are where you do all of that magic. Okay, let's go back to our split test page. Here it is. We see our variation with the different copy up at the top. I'm going to click distribute traffic. That's next. I want it to go 50-50, distribute evenly, and then we can finalize it. So it will run both of those, and that is how you can get started trying to test out different headlines. Again, this kind of tool, like a lead pages, an opt-in page, can be a great place to test out different headlines and just see what works and what doesn't work, and then use that information and knowledge that you collect somewhere else. Test number 5, does it highlight the benefit? You've probably heard of features and benefits before, and how we want to speak to those benefits of your service, your product, your offering, your brand, not necessarily the features as much, but why. I've linked below a great episode from my friends and my clients, Think Creative Collective and Natalie Frank. Abigail and Emily of TCC had Natalie on their show. Natalie has a background in neuroscience, and she beautifully explains why we purchase with our emotions first and we back it up with the rationale. This is why it's really important that we highlight those benefits when we're writing to your audience. So I get excited and a little nerdy about this, but one creative writing exercise I have for you is to sit down and see if you can write 100 benefits that your product, your service, or even just your brand in general has. Now, don't take this too seriously, but I just hope that this helps loosen you up a little bit and think through, why should people even care about what it is that you offer? This is also why I don't usually write the headline until after I've finished writing the whole sales page copy when it comes to some of these $500,000 launches that I've written the sales page copy for. I need to kind of be bleeding what these people are bleeding and feel like them and really understand what it's like. I want you to get to that same place when you're writing for your audience. The 6th test is to draw them to the next line. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Your headline only has one job to do, and that is to get them to read the next line of copy. That line of copy also only has one job, you guessed it, to help them read the next line of copy, and so on and so forth until we work your reader down the page into wherever it is that we need them to take an action and actually do something. I would say this is one of the biggest things that we forget when we're DIY writing our own copy on our websites. Again, back to that sales page example, usually my goal when I'm writing a big long sales page isn't to sell the product in that first line. I just want to hook them. I want to get them interested so they stay and they keep reading. I want to attract and repel, so to speak. I want the people that will be a great fit for this to stick around, to be interested, and to keep reading. And for those people that are not interested in this and it will not be a good fit for them, I want to send them on their merry way and not waste their time. I can take a lot of the pressure away as we write our own headlines. Your biggest goal is to hook them, to keep their attention and keep them reading. We'll worry about selling and the rest of the copy. We will get there as long as those words are pulling their weight as well. As a bonus tip, I have 4 headline tools that may be able to help you out. I will have 3 of those mentioned in the blog post associated with this video. So just look below in the description box and you can find this blog so you can read the rest. But the tip I want to take you behind the scenes on here is CoSchedule. CoSchedule's headline analyzer tool is a really cool option that you can use, and I want to show you how that works. So this is behind the scenes of CoSchedule. This is the tool that we use, the software that we use to do all editorial calendaring for the business. I tried this in Trello. I tried this in CoSchedule. I left CoSchedule, came back to it, tried lots of different things, and I've ended up just loving the way it works, the way I see everything so easily laid out. You can do like a list view if you want. I typically keep the calendar view. Here's the list view, how that works, but I like it like this so I can just see everything, and I can see from all different, from Facebook to other Facebook groups that we operate, to LinkedIn, to Instagram. So you can actually, I believe now, schedule out your Instagrams as well. Inside CoSchedule, I still use I use Plan with 2 N's to do that, but you can now have that option here in CoSchedule, which is pretty nice. I do like that I can come in here and get some analytics and feedback. So let's talk about the headline analyzation tool and how you can use that. So the good news is, whether you have an account or want an account or not, it is free. All you need to do is go to coschedule.com/headline analyzer, and you would just be typing your information in here. I will link that below if you want to hop in and get that figured out. But if you do have an account, or you even want to just give it a trial and so you can see what happens is, let's say like you can tell this is a WordPress blog that we created in here and then pushed to the blog itself. So what happens is the headline tool is already pre-populated in here. Oop, this one got a 55. That's not totally awesome. This headline analyzation tool is great for content in blogs, but I do think that sometimes it works really well with website headline copy. So I want to introduce it as a tool because I don't want you to rule it out. There's going to be times when you can, kind of gauge the tool and see, well, it's telling me that because that probably would be better for a blog than the front page of my website, my whole homepage or whatever. But there's going to be a few things that we can learn from this. Again, it is a tool to help us out, so we're just going to get what we can from it and move along. So here's an example of it with a blog. Once we pull this down, we can see a little bit more. So essentially you can go in here and let's just pretend, see if it changes a little bit. We can see what's different, how it would rate. It's going to tell us word count, maybe a sweet spot when we have a little too many like we do right now. It's going to also give us some more details on uncommon words, emotional words. We should probably include emotional word like surprising or something else. That would probably, surprising makeovers to fix them. Yeah. Just trying out different things and seeing what works. Went up just a little bit there. I usually try to get it when I'm really working it to like a green level. It'll kind of give you a green light, just like Yoast or some other SEO tools that you may have in WordPress do. So it does that same kind of thing. But yeah, it can be a great tool that you can use for lots of different headlines in your business, content tools, or content headlines for sure, but you could also use this tool as you write headline copy as well. Even the best writer can't save an ad with a poor headline. Copywriter John Capel said, and that is truth serum. It is absolutely so true. It doesn't matter how great the rest of your website copy is, your portfolio, or even the results that you get people, if that headline didn't interest me. Because if it didn't interest me, I've bounced and I've moved on to doing something else. Check that link in the description box to grab the 13 swipes that can get you started. And I also want to hear from you. Did you have an aha moment during today's video? If you did, please comment below. I would love to hear what that is and see how we can help you out some more. As always, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it and respect it. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like. I'll see you back next week with an all new video.